AmaZulu royals are meeting today to discuss a successor to the late King Goodwill Zwelithini Zulu. The next monarch will be chosen by the current regent, Queen Mantfombi Dlamini. It's expected that the announcement will be made in the next few days. Well, following this story for us this lunchtime is our senior reporter, Siphamandla Goge. Sipha, good afternoon. Welcome this lunchtime. This meeting that is currently underway, of course, is, I understand, about the late King's will. What can you tell us?
Indeed, that meeting is underway, brother, and I can tell you that it started about an hour ago. So now we are on phase 2 of that meeting. Phase 1 was strictly and mainly for members of the royal family. I think about 15 of them, including the kings, queens, and then senior members of the royal family, immediate family members of the departed monarch. Behind me, my colleague Bonga Mkize will show you a white marquee. You should be able to see some few people seated outside that marquee. Inside there, that's where the Zulu royal family members are gathered right now. So that's phase 2 of this meeting. They are discussing the King's will. Now, this is what we know about the King's will, brother. And when the departed monarch was interred on Thursday, or should I say on Wednesday evening, and then there was a memorial service on Thursday, which was attended by President Cyril Ramaphosa, because the departed king was granted or accorded special official funeral category number 1. So on Thursday, there was a meeting of royal family members, but that meeting then was adjourned to Saturday, where it was agreed that the legal representatives of the departed monarch will read a will and brief members of the royal family. Now, that will was read. This is what we know according to our sources from the royal palace, is that the will was signed by the king in 2016. We also know that it's about 4 to 5 pages, so that's the document that is there. Now, the will basically highlights the fact that all the kings, queens will inherit whatever is left in their respective palaces. The departed monarch had 6 palaces. Those include, of course, Waketo Mthandayo, Kwakhangela Mankengane. There is also eNyokeni, there is Ondini, KwaDlamahlahla, and Linduzulu. But where the focus and the interest lies is on the issue of the throne. So we understand that according to the will, the king left the throne with Queen Mantfombi of Kwakhangela to decide what will happen moving forward. So the meeting that is behind us is discussing that issue of the king's will, but also the issue of succession, brother.
So the great wife and the current regent, Queen Mantfombi Dlamini, has a very important role to play. I mean, can you expand a little bit on this, and why would that be?
Because as we speak currently, she's the one who is in charge of the Zulu nation. She's the one who was left with the throne by the departed monarch. So in the meantime, up until the issue of succession is permanently addressed and finalized, she is the one who is in charge. She has always been instrumental, of course, together with other queens, but she's regarded as the great wife. She is the 3rd queen of the departed monarch, having married with the departed monarch in 1977. We understand that she has about 8 children. They include 5 princes and 3 princesses, and there is the eldest son there. So for now, as we speak, she is the one who is the regent. So everything and anything that has got to do with the Zulu kingdom cannot be decided and discussed without her final word, without her influence, of course, in consultation with other queens and with other members of the royal family. She is the daughter of the late king of Eswatini, King Sobhuza. She is the sister to the reigning monarch of Eswatini, King Mswati III. So that's why she's referred to as the great wife, because she's not a commoner. She's a princess who became a queen of the Zulu kingdom. So she did produce a son, Prince Misuzulu. Hence, speculation is rife when it comes to the issue of succession. But for now, she is the one who is holding the fort up until the issue of succession is finally decided.
You're just leading us on to the last question I have. It's specifically around the speculation there. And as we hear praise singing happening there next to the gate at the palace, Kwaketo Mthandayo. So Queen the Queen's elder son, Mrs. Zulu, has been speculated as one of the two front runners, if we can call it that, from those who are watching from the outside. What can you tell us a little bit more about that? She has a very critical role to play. Her elder son, Mrs. Zulu, is speculated to be one of the front runners.
Indeed, that is the case, and it's not surprising, brethren, because historians and cultural experts, as my colleague Bongamkize will show you, a group of monarchs and other members of the extended family here, security personnel, they are gathering there because people continue to flock to Kwaketo Mthandayo Royal Palace. So this is what we know about Prince Misuzulu. He is the eldest son of Queen Mantombi of Kwakhangela Mankengane Royal Palace. Now, he is one of the front runners because he is the eldest son, and his mother is the one who has been left with the throne. Now, it is expected that his mother is going to put forward a nomination. She is going to name a candidate, and that candidate, of course, as much as she will be providing leadership and guidance as the acting or as the regent for now, but the royal family members will have to debate that candidate, and they will have to agree on that candidate before going public and basically announcing that this is who is going to succeed the departed monarch. So we know that Prince Misuzulu, the name itself, by the way, let me tell you that Misuzulu can be directly translated as saying it's someone who's going to hold the nation together, hold the nation stronger, and it's someone who's going to unite the Zulu nation, Misuzulu. So that alone, cultural experts will tell you that that name speaks volumes, because from birth it was indeed designed, or it was projected that he was going to be one of the strong contenders. Now, let's take you back about 3 months ago. Prince Lethukuthula Zulu, who is the king's firstborn son from Kwaketo Mthandayo Royal Palace, passed away in Johannesburg under mysterious circumstances. Of course, that court case is still ongoing. He was also regarded as one of the front runners here. Remember, for 50 years, AmaZulu haven't had an opportunity to deal with the issue of succession. So speculation has always been there about the issue of succession, but it was always a taboo in the Zulu kingdom, because culturally it is believed that you don't discuss the issue of succession while the reigning monarch is still alive. So you have to wait for the monarch to depart, and then you can talk about issues of succession. But also there is another cultural dimension to it, to say basically the mother or the queen of the king, it's not about who your father was, the king, it's about who your mother is. That's where the king comes from. So all those need to be taken into consideration. But for now, as we speak, it looks like, based on speculation and also based on royal sources, it does look like Prince Misuzulu is one of the front runners for now. But of course, we have to wait for the official announcement, which we expect that will be made soon by the royal house here once they are done with their meeting. It could be today, it could be a few days from now, but all of that is dependent on how this meeting, which is underway, progresses. If there is unity, if there is agreement and consensus, then they will have to devise a strategy of when and how the Zulu nation will be briefed about the next king, and then preparations will have to be underway. But immediately after the meeting, if there is consensus, they will need to inform government, then the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, as well as the presidency, because before the coronation there needs to be a certificate of recognition, and once all those processes are done, there will have to be an announcement about when the next king will be coronated.
Yeah, and finally, Siphamandla, before you go, as you are talking about all those kind of factors that come into the play as AmaZulu Royal House is meeting there to decide on who will be the next king, the other question I have, publicly we saw during the eulogy by President Cyril Ramaphosa and other speakers hailing King Goodwill Zwelithini as a peacemaker, as a custodian of Zulu culture and heritage, and somebody who valued unity. Those kind of broader public sentiments, do they come into play here, or it's only the tradition and from which mother is the next king?
They do come into play here. Remember, brother, that's why in KwaZulu there is a saying which says, Indlu Nkulu. The king is one person, but the royal house is vast with various and different houses. So whoever becomes the king of the Zulu nation, yes, he will have the subjects that will report to him, but also he is not holding the throne for himself. You know, in Ndlunkulu, there are various houses here. Hence, Umtaninkosi from Kwakangela Mankengane, as much as she is the great wife and she has been left with the throne, but she cannot take that decision by herself because she needs to consult widely with other royal family members. Because remember, when it comes to succession issues, very few thrones anywhere in the world which are not contested, whether publicly or behind the scenes, but there will always be various interests. Even here in the Zulu kingdom, there are various competing interests, and hence people, you know, our sources were telling us that yes, they understand that the meeting which is convened here will deal with the issues of the king's estates as to who gets what, you know, but the main point here, the gist, which will be the last agenda item, by the way, is the issue of succession. Who will ascend to the throne, who will be nominated. They will have to discuss the character and the conduct of the candidate that will be put forward, by the way, to take over. Because remember here, it's someone who will be the king of the powerful Zulu nation. His character and his conduct will have to come under intense debate and scrutiny. So when it comes to the issue of unity, remember King Goodwill Zwelithini Zulu is widely credited for reviving many traditional ceremonies, but also he is credited for unifying the royal household, for unifying the nation. So it is expected that when they choose the successor, all those traits and all those qualities will have to come in here, because they would need someone who will continue with what the departed monarch stood for.
Thank you very much. Senior reporter here at eNCA, Siphamandla Goge at Kwakhetho Mthandayo, AmaZulu Royal Palace, as they are there, as he said, into phase 2 of their discussions this afternoon, looking at the will and making that decision about who will succeed the late AmaZulu King Goodwill Zwelithini Zulu. Speculation rife that Mrs. Zulu might become, Prince Mrs. Zulu might become the next king, but we'll have to wait for the next few days for that announcement.